If you've ever looked straight into a mirror and not recognized the person staring back, if you've ever curled up in a dark corner and wished you had never been born, then maybe you'll understand why I chose to die. My name is Landon Mercer. I'm 20 years old. And on the night I swallowed that handful of pills, I didn't cry, I wasn't afraid, and I didn't hesitate. I just felt empty, as if I had already been dead for a long time, just waiting for that final act to make it official. The strange part is, I didn't hate life. I just didn't know how to stay in it without being devoured by my mind. I grew up in a house where silence hurt more than shouting. My dad disappeared before I was old enough to remember his face. My mom was physically present, but emotionally, she was just a shadow. A body still breathing, but a soul worn down by time and disappointment. I became good at pretending, smiling when I had to, saying I'm fine whenever someone asked. But inside me, there was a rising undertow, something nameless, pulling me further away from who I was. I started using pills at 15. At first, it was just to calm the mind. Then it became the only way I could get through the day. I wasn't addicted to the high. I was addicted to the feeling of being somewhere, anywhere other than inside myself. Do you know what that's like? When your own body feels like a cage, like the thing keeping you from ever really living. That night, I sat alone in my room. My phone was off. The curtains were drawn. I wrote a few lines, maybe a letter, but tore them up. Not because I had second thoughts, but because I knew no one would read them. I didn't want to be saved. I just wanted to let go. No tears, no light, no warning signs. Just a single exhale, and everything went dark. But right when I thought I had slipped into nothingness, something completely irrational happened. It wasn't darkness. It was light. A quiet, overwhelming light, warm but not blinding, like it came from a place I had once known, but had long forgotten. And then a voice. Not in words, but in feeling. A whisper that echoed inside me. You thought death was the end. But you were wrong. The question is, are you ready to see the truth? I thought I was dying. But in truth, I was just beginning to live. And what I was about to see would change everything I ever believed about life, death, and who I am. I never thought I would wake up, but the truth is, I had never actually slept, at least not in the way we usually understand it. While my body lay motionless on the floor, pale and cold, I found myself standing there, looking down at it. This wasn't a dream. It wasn't hazy or symbolic. It was as clear and literal as stepping out of a room and turning around to look back in. I saw myself. I saw exactly how my arms had fallen limp. My eyes were slightly open, as if still searching for something, but too late to find it. I didn't feel panic. I didn't feel fear. What I felt was a strange, gentle awareness, like I had just slipped out of an old shell, and for the first time, I was weightless. I tried to speak, but there was no sound. I had no mouth. I had no form. I was pure awareness, vivid, alert, completely present. And then something or someone came close to me. It was like a current of light. No shape. No gender. But I knew. I was being seen. Not with eyes, but with its entire being. As if I had been known, deeply and completely, for a very long time. I began to move, though I never took a step. Every time I thought of a place, I was already there. Every time I formed a question, the answer came not in words, but as waves of feeling. I was being guided through a space without boundaries, without time, without up or down, and yet it was full of life. All around me were points of light, like other souls, gliding and brushing past one another. There were no words, but everything was connected. And then, I saw a soul I recognized instantly. Not by face because he had none, but by the frequency of his presence. So profound, so deeply familiar that it shattered something in me in the most beautiful way. It was my brother, the one who had died years ago in an accident when I was only 16. The last person who ever told me I didn't need to be strong all the time. The one who held me through panic attacks and never once asked for a reason. And now he was here not in a body, but in a light so tender, so powerful, that every ounce of loneliness I had ever known disappeared in an instant. There were no words between us, but I understood everything. He didn't blame me for giving up. He didn't resent me for wanting to leave it all behind. Instead, what I felt was absolute acceptance, as if my death wasn't a mistake, but a turning point carefully placed so I could remember something I had forgotten for far too long. I wanted to stay. I truly did. But that space, that realm, wouldn't let me. Not through force, not through rejection, but through a gentle, undeniable invitation. Not yet. There is something you must see, something you've never dared to face. And with that, I was taken farther. Not toward more light, but deeper into myself, into the life I had lived, the one I had run from, and now, the one I was being asked to see, crack by crack, truth by painful truth, through the very fractures of my soul. I didn't know where I was. All I knew was that everything around me suddenly transformed into a living, breathing screen, but it wasn't projected on anything outside. It was happening inside of me. I became every memory. I felt everything I had ever done, thought, hidden, or run from. This wasn't some cinematic replay of my life. This was embodiment. I was back inside every moment, every choice, every seemingly meaningless instant. And the most overwhelming part, I didn't just see myself. I saw the people I had hurt. I saw my mother's face the 5th time I slammed the door on her that day, leaving her behind in silent worry. I saw the disappointment in my teacher's eyes when I tossed a blank test onto his desk. I saw the girl I left without explanation, her tears not falling on a pillow, but into the threads of energy that had always connected us, threads I had never noticed while I was alive. I felt what they felt, not vague empathy. I became them. I knew how they had tried to understand me, how they had blamed themselves for my withdrawal, my silence, my pain. I saw the hurt I left behind ripple out in emotional space, and I realized I had never been the only one suffering. I also saw the things I thought were insignificant, the small, forgettable acts that turned out to be light for someone else. I gave up my seat on the bus for an old man, a well-timed handshake to a classmate, a quick text checking in on someone. These moments glowed, like tiny flames in the gray mist of someone else's soul. And I began to understand. Every action, every thought, every word, no matter how small, left an imprint on the collective field of energy that connects us all. Nothing passed without effect. Nothing was ever just a small thing. I wasn't just living my life. I was weaving a shared tapestry thread by thread with millions of others. And every tug I made had consequences. And then came the moment that took my breath away, the moment I was shown my younger self. A little boy, crying silently in the bathroom, clutching a pen, scribbling a question on the wall. Why am I here? I had forgotten that moment. But there, I saw my soul splintering, aching, lonely, abandoned. And I realized, no one had ever abandoned me more than I had abandoned myself. A voice didn't speak from outside, it rose from within me. There is no right or wrong, only learning and growth. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to remember the love you once forgot. The most painful part of a life review isn't seeing how you hurt others. It's realizing that every wound you caused came from a piece of your soul you were too afraid to face. The times I made my mother cry, the moments I screamed at my friends, the coldness I pretended to feel, all of it was the armor of a trembling boy who had to yell loud enough to drown out the sound of his breaking. I saw myself at every turning point, every crossroad where I could have chosen a different path. And yet, no one blamed me. Not one being judged me. No angels with checklists. No God shouting in rage. Just me. And the truth. And that was what broke me. The fact that there was no one left to blame. I was shown memories I didn't even recall, as if my soul had recorded every single moment. One time, I helped a boy pick up a book he dropped in the schoolyard when I was only 10. I didn't think twice. But in that space, I was shown his life after that seemingly insignificant moment. I saw how that act gently nudged his path in a new direction. Because that day he had been planning to stop coming to school, he felt invisible. But because I picked up that book, he stayed. One small act, a ripple of eternal energy. I realized I was never as small as I believed. None of us is ever truly insignificant. Everything we do, everything we think, emits a frequency that touches others in ways we may never see. And every bit of it is remembered not to condemn us, but to give us the chance to see, and to choose again. I was also shown the lessons my soul had chosen before I was ever born, the conditions for growth. Every person I encountered, whether good or bad, wasn't random. They were all teachers, playing roles we had agreed upon beforehand. Some played the betrayer. Some, the one who would wound me. But all of them were pieces of the greater puzzle, helping me learn how to love myself, how to forgive, how to rise, how to let go, and how to grow. I used to curse my fate. Now I understand I chose it all. Not with this mind, but with my soul before I ever set foot on earth. And I whispered to myself, for the first time since I was a child, if I chose all of this, do I have the courage to keep living with my eyes truly open? Before the answer could even form, the universe lifted me into another plane, one where the future wasn't something waiting to happen, but a branching web of infinite possibilities. And I was shown what could unfold if humanity did not awaken. I thought I had seen everything. But then a gentle movement, shapeless, soundless, pulled me away from the veil of memory and into a strange new space. It had no borders, no colors like the earthly world. It felt like an ocean made of light, except this light was alive, constantly shifting, as if breathing. And then, before my eyes, the future began to appear. Not as a finished book, but as countless overlapping paths, crossing each other like the neural web of the earth itself. I was shown two worlds. Not two separate planets, but two potential realities of the same earth. One was a world where humanity continued to live in ignorance. I saw cities choked in smoke, stripped of trees. I saw human eyes void of light, gazing at one another with suspicion, even hatred. I saw children growing up in fear, and adults dying slowly in isolation. The energy lines that once connected us, like veins of the soul, were cut and bleeding. Technology advanced, but the heart was left behind. Earth didn't explode, it withered, like a mother unloved and forgotten. I turned away, my chest tightening, when another vision opened. A different world, one where people remembered their connection to the soul and each other. I saw small communities living in harmony with nature. Children are learning to listen to their emotions. Adults are not just working, but healing one another. I witnessed waves of energy flowing from person to person, not through words, but through presence. Trees grew in the center of cities. Disease faded. War didn't disappear entirely, but it was no longer fed by fear. I saw radiant souls walking the material world as if they had never forgotten where they came from. And then I understood. No one was predicting the future for me. I was being shown the possible scripts, each shaped by the choices of individual souls. I turned toward the being of light beside me. I couldn't see a face, but I felt a love so vast, so all-encompassing, it brought me to my knees. It wasn't romantic love. It was something primal, sacred, unconditional. And I asked not with words, but with the full ache of my being, "Why are you showing me all of this?" And the answer came not in words, but as a vibration that resonated through every cell of my being. Because you have forgotten who you are. But now, you are ready to remember. And when you remember, you will help others do the same. I trembled not from fear, but from something far deeper. I knew, beyond any doubt, that I had made a promise to return. Before I was born, before I was Landon, I had promised to come to Earth, to walk through the darkness, and at the appointed time, to awaken and remind other souls why they came here. And in that very moment, the promise surged back into my awareness like a bolt of lightning splitting my heart wide open. Once the promise awakened, I couldn't run from it. Not because I was forced to. Not because anyone made me return, but because something deep within my soul remembered. I remembered a realm beyond form, before birth, where I stood like millions of other souls, faced with a choice: remain in the light or descend to earth, a place of chaos, separation, and forgetting. And I, a tiny spark, naive yet brave, whispered to the source, "Send me. Even if I forget everything, even if it hurts, if I can light up even one soul, then I want to go." Now, looking back at the journey through addiction, loneliness, nights soaked in tears, moments I wished I could disappear, I no longer see it as failure. They were essential checkpoints on the path back to that ancient vow. No detour was wasted. No pain was without purpose. Everything was stitched together to help me remember. The being of light brought me closer to a field of energy I couldn't name. It had no color, no edge, yet the nearer I came, the more I felt held by millions upon millions of other souls. A living web, not bound by flesh, but by soul intention. I saw souls preparing to be born. They weren't crying. They weren't afraid. They shimmered with readiness. Each carried unfinished lessons, unresolved fragments, longings yet to be fulfilled. Some chose to come as children with disabilities. Some chose the path of homelessness. Some accepted lifetimes in war zones. Not as punishment, but because they loved deeply enough to go where love was needed most. I saw the sacredness of pain, and it was nothing like tragedy. Pain doesn't come to punish us. It comes to knock, to awaken, to make us choose again from the heart. And when the soul chooses love over fear, even in the most desperate of circumstances, it radiates. I realized something profound. Light doesn't defeat darkness by fighting it. It overcomes by shining so fully that darkness has nowhere left to hide. And in that exact moment, I was asked not with words, but with a deep, resonant echo within. "Do you want to go back?" No one persuaded me. No one urged me. It was simply a choice. Absolute freedom. I hesitated, because I knew if I returned, I would forget nearly everything I was seeing. I'd go back into a fragile body, into a world where pain is real, where the light is often obscured. I'd have to learn again, slowly, step by step. I'd have to live the very life I once tried to escape. But I also knew, if no one dares to return, then who will light the candle in the dark? I breathed in, though I had no lungs. I nodded, though I had no head. I chose to go back, not because I was strong enough, but because I had once promised never to forget the light I had seen. And the moment that choice was sealed, I felt a force pull me, powerful, unstoppable, as if the entire universe was sending me back to Earth. I didn't know how I would wake up, or who, if anyone, would be waiting. I only knew this: I was returning. And this time, I would not be the same. Coming back into my body wasn't what I expected. It didn't feel like waking gently from a long sleep. It felt like being crammed back into an old, tight, heavy coat, one that no longer fit the soul I had become. Every cell in my body screamed, overwhelmed by the light I was trying to bring back with me. I opened my eyes. Everything was blurry. There was no angelic choir, no applause, just the stained hospital ceiling, the antiseptic smell, and the slow, steady beep of a heart monitor ticking like the uncertain breath of a soul learning to walk the earth again. I was alive. My body was exhausted. My heart beat slowly, as if it hadn't yet remembered how to do its job. But my mind, my awareness, had never been clearer. Not because I remembered every detail of what I had seen. Most of it was already slipping away, like mist dissolving in the wind. But something remained. A feeling. A deep, quiet knowing that echoed within me like a breath without sound. Remember. Don't forget. Even when they don't believe. Even when you doubt. Remember. I looked at my hands not to count the scars, but to ask a completely new question. Who will these hands touch? Who might they help? What seeds will they plant? Every heartbeat was no longer just a sign of survival. It was the pulse of a promise awakening. I was no longer the boy who wanted to die. I was a soul marked by light. The journey that followed was anything but easy. The physical pain of withdrawal. The fragmented dreams of a realm I could no longer name. The long nights when I nearly let go again, because that light felt impossibly far away, like a mirage just beyond reach. But I had made a promise. To them. To myself. To the light that once wrapped me in unconditional love. And I kept it in every action, every word, every choice. I began to write. Not as an author, but as a seeker. I told my story not to prove it was real, but so anyone might know. If you've hit rock bottom, if you've ever wanted to disappear, maybe that was the moment your soul was trying to wake you up. I'm no saint. I still lose my temper. I still make mistakes. I still have days when I want to run from the world. But there's one thing I've never lost again, the awareness that I am alive not by accident, but for a reason. I once thought I came back just to keep living, but I've come to realize I returned to live differently, to carry light into the darkest moments. And in the most ordinary ones, I'm learning to touch that light again not by dying, but by loving and by living fully. One afternoon, I was sitting alone on a bench in the small park near my apartment, a place that had once been my refuge during those hollow, empty days when a little boy ran by, tripped, and fell hard to the ground. He started crying, gasping through the sobs. His parents were still a distance away, not yet close enough to comfort him. Instinctively, I stood up, walked over, and gently helped him to his feet. I didn't say much. I just placed a hand on his shoulder, looked into his eyes, and gave him a soft smile. There were no angel choirs, no background music, no flash of heavenly light. Just a simple moment between two souls. But I saw it the moment his crying paused. The exact second he realized that someone was truly present with him. I walked home with my heart quietly trembling. Not because of emotion, but because something bloomed inside me, something that my near-death experience had planted and only now had come alive. Awakening doesn't require doing something extraordinary. It's about showing up fully with love in the smallest of moments. I began to write not on Facebook, not in a journal or a blog, but on the invisible walls of my own heart. Every person I meet carries a piece of my mission, either to help me learn or help me remember. And I started living that way. Not perfectly, but consciously, aware that the light I had once seen wasn't far away or unreachable. It lived in every moment I chose love over fear, presence over performance, softness over pride. I used to think the meaning of life was a grand question that would take an entire lifetime to answer. But now I know it's not found in the answer, but in our presence. It's in the way we truly look into someone's eyes, in an unguarded hug, in an apology deep enough to heal, in the way we forgive ourselves when we stumble and fall. Someone once asked me, "Are you sure what you experienced was real? Maybe it was just a hallucination from the pills." And I smiled, not to argue or convince them, but because I knew truth doesn't need to be proven. It just needs to be lived. And if a so-called hallucination made me love myself more, live more gently, connect more honestly, then maybe this world could use a few more hallucinations like that. I don't need you to believe me. I only hope that if you've ever felt your life was meaningless, if you've ever believed you were too small to matter, you'll hear this clearly: you're not here by accident. Your soul chose this life, this time, this body for a reason. You don't need to search for the light. You are the light. You only need to remember. Just don't forget. I used to ask, why am I here? And now I know it's not to live perfectly. It's to live authentically. Not to wait for someone to save me, but to become the light for myself, and for those still lost in the dark, just as I once was. And if you're hearing these words, maybe you're ready to remember too. Just like I did.